So for about a year, I had been looking for a wireless guitar system. And it wasn't really for performing, it was mainly just for when I'm teaching. Because if you look at my setup, I have my Xvive, which I use as an amp under my desk, and then I sit in front of my desk and the student sits across the room. And what I found is that when I was running a cable from my Xvive across the room, because I have wheelie chairs and kids tend to get pretty enthusiastic, which is good when it comes to learning guitar and they want to move around and spin around a bit. I found my cables were constantly getting run over, so having a wireless was going to solve that problem of my cables getting run over and just make everything a lot easier. And for these needs, I just wanted something that was easy to use. It didn't require you to tape a walkie-talkie to your guitar strap, and I could just easily switch it between classes. So I was pleasantly surprised when Xvive reached out and they offered to send me one of their A58 wireless units to test out, and it seemed to tick all the boxes for what I wanted. It was small, it was portable, it had a good battery life. So I said yes, and they sent me one through, and the deal was that I'd make a YouTube video reviewing it, which I was more than happy to do, and I'll still give my honest, unbiased opinion. Now in full transparency, I'm one of the least techie guitar players out there. I couldn't really care less about how gear works. If something feels good and works well, I'm sold. So the A58, it comes with a solid case and it has two units. A transmitter which you plug into your guitar and a receiver which you plug into your amp. They're both very lightweight and they're small enough that they don't interfere when your guitar is plugged in, which is good. There's 6 channels to choose from, and if you hold down the button on the transmitter, you find the one that has the clearest signal, and then you just match that on the receiver. There's also an option for active if you use a guitar with active pickups, which is handy, and after that, you're good to go. So it's very simple, and if I can figure it out, anyone can. Now the reason why I tended to not like wireless is because I was scared of any latency. When I'm recording, they say that you can't notice anything above 8 milliseconds of latency, but I still feel that it doesn't vibe very well. It doesn't feel great when I'm playing if there's that much latency. But these use a 5.8 gigahertz signal as opposed to 2.4, which apparently means it's faster, and only has 5 milliseconds of latency according to the website. And I don't see why that wouldn't be true, because when I play, it feels totally natural and it doesn't feel like I'm playing a wireless. It just feels like a cable. So it ticks that box. Another thing is that the range goes up to 100 feet. Not that I've tested it out, but it's good to know that it can handle that. So if you're wanting to run into the crowd when you're performing, you have that option. Now the other concern I had with this was battery life, because I can teach for pretty long shifts and I don't want it cutting out or running out of battery during that. Now the website claims that it lasts up to 5 hours, but in my experience I've used it for like 6, nearly 7 hours straight, and it's still good, and it hasn't died, so it's got a really good battery life, and it hasn't been an issue at all during the last 6 months of me using it. And it's really easy to charge them. It's just USB-C, and it comes with a cool dual USB-C cable, so you can charge both at once, which is handy. Now the next concern tends to be the tone, and again I can't notice any difference when I'm using this versus a lead, but what I've seen from other reviews and a bit of research is that the frequencies tend to drop out below 70 Hertz. But when you're dialing in the guitar tone, you tend to cut those frequencies out anyway, so I don't see that really being a problem at all. If you're in a recording studio, you probably wouldn't want to use it, but for all other purposes, I don't think that's a problem at all. But here's a few comparisons of sounds using a cable versus the wireless, so you can hear for yourself. Now regarding the price, I don't think there's anything better out there in the same price range, so it's worth checking out if you want just a really easy to use wireless that's reliable. And I'm actually going to buy one with my own money so that I can use it during the lesson as well and not just my students. But I'll put a link in the description if you want to grab one for yourself. But yeah, couldn't recommend this thing enough. I've had no problems over the last 6 months of using it. So hopefully this review helped you if you're on the fence on what to get in terms of a wireless. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.